Hey everyone, thanks so much to come into the free info session from the Project. I'm Marco, I'm one of the co-mentors at the Project, and I want to run you through the program, what we're doing, so you guys get a little bit of a better understanding what's happening, curriculum, how do mentorship sessions work, what capstone projects, what group projects, all that stuff I want to cover in the next probably about half hour. So let's jump straight in. So first things like the detail of our core curriculum and kind of like how we adjust that. I want to talk a little bit about that. And I said mentorship sessions, we want to cover two, right? What are our mentors doing? What am I doing when I mentor students? And also like what kind of skills can you actually expect when you graduate from our program? That's really an important question and a good one to consider. So let's jump in, core curriculum, right? So the first things first, zoom out a little bit. What are we going to do with our curriculum? It's all about building real world projects very, very early on. It's really important to us. So there's not going to be like, oh, here's a string, here's a variable, here's an array, here's a hash. That's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do is in the first 10 hours, you're going to build a web application and you ship it live on the internet. And if you're at the party and you pull out your phone and you share it to your friends, they say, oh, wow, you built this? Because it looks good on mobile too. That's the goal we're shooting for. So what are you going to do in the first 10 hours with us, right? We're going to give you this 360 roundhouse kick of all the tools that you need to use, right? You're going to touch Ruby, you're going to touch Rails, you're going to touch database, you're going to touch Git, GitHub for version control, all these things. You're going to touch a little bit of HTML, a little bit of CSS, you're going to make it responsive. And we're going to run you through all of this so you kind of understand, but we're not just explaining it. We're actually making you build something. And what do you build is, we call it Splurty. It's an advice-generating web application that we ship live on the internet. And it's something simple where people can enter quotes of pieces of advice. You know, you could say like, you know you're an urban designer when ... and people can have a quote in there of what characterizes somebody like that. Or, you know you're a programmer when ... right? You can make it for whatever you want. It's a fun thing to share with your friends. And it's all about like learning the tools, but also building a real project and shipping it live and seeing how the entire process works. Okay. Enough of the 10 first hours, right? What's next? What's next, right? After that, we kind of ramp it up, right? This is called the Firehose Project for a reason. We always want you guys drink from the fire hose and keep the learning curve as steep as possible. So what we do afterwards is we build a Yelp clone with you guys. And if I'm looking at the features that we're kind of building when we go do that Yelp clone application, I think the most important one is integrating with the Google Map API. What does that mean, right? If you're thinking about Google Map APIs, it's like you have a form, you type in an address, that address is going to get saved to the database. We translate that address into latitude and longitude and push it into the Google API so we get that pin on the map back. And that's the code that you're going to write to integrate with that API. And obviously, we do a lot of other things, right? We can't just have a one feature application. That would be not that fun. So we're going to do like user authentication. So log in, log out is obviously a big part of it. Then we also do user comments, right? People versus Yelp clone. If you add a place, like this is Joe's Pizza Place, they want to comment on it. So give them comments. So we teach you how to do that. And then also, you know, if you own a pizza place on that Yelp clone, and somebody comments on it and says, hey, 5 stars, this is awesome, you want to get an email back saying like, hey, somebody, maybe Marco, maybe Ken, somebody else, just commented on your pizza place. So you want automated notifications, right, via email. And that's what we're teaching you too. And then obviously we have like other things like features that you need, like you need to have a slider, you need to have this look good. Again, you go to a party, you pull out your mobile phone, people should say nothing else but, oh, wow, you built this last week? Awesome. That's what we're doing. So for example, like how do people customize their Yelp clone, right? We're thinking first 4 weeks in the program. So one of our students is like really into horse racing and horse race tracks. And apparently, I didn't know that before we started mentoring him. There's not a good listing or map of horse race tracks in the US. So he was like, I'm not gonna make my Yelp clone about pizza places. So together with his mentor, he adjusted his Yelp clone and actually made it about finding horse race tracks and rating them based on, I'm not an expert, but based on like the race quality of the horses and how you can bet and all kinds of stuff. So that's what he actually already did in the first 4 weeks, like building something that matters to him. And now his friends are using that. And he probably also builds this right now into his capstone project, fully out with analytics and all kinds of stuff. So that's the Yelp clone. Have all kinds of fancy features. We even throw a dashboard in it so users can see how many places they have, what's the average rating, a few simple metrics in there to kind of tie it all together and bring it. So Those are the first 4 weeks. Then we kind of bring you up to the next step, and then we having you build a platform, a video online learning platform. So what does that mean when I say platform, right? It's still a web application, still looks good on desktop, tablet, and mobile. But by platform, I mean there's different players going on here. So it's an online learning platform, so you have instructors on one side, and you have students on the other side, right? Since it's a platform, any of your friends who are good at something, say teaching you how to throw a frisbee, they could be going onto your platform and building a course on how to throw a frisbee and play ultimate frisbee better. And then there can be students who come and purchase those courses and actually get to see the video lessons. Now I said purchasing, right? So one of the most interesting features is actually accepting credit cards on your own platform that you're building. And we integrate with the Stripe API here, so you actually can accept and make money off the platform that you're building in the second month with us. But the even more important feature is thinking about how this all works on a technical level, on a database relationship level. So I just said there's instructors, there's students, right? You got to think about, okay, how many courses does each instructor have, right? They can have I have a frisbee course. I also have one on bike riding and also have one on basketball. And then there's students and who paid which course and how does the money flow back and forth between the players and what cut do you get as a platform owner? So if you're thinking about that, that's pretty complicated stuff, but a lot of web applications are really powered by those kind of relationships on a database level. So it's really important that you learn that. Obviously, we're also teaching you how to do video streaming. We also teach you how to do the user authentication. We also go into JavaScript a lot there. And that's, again, it's like project-based learning. Like at that point, we really want to have a really clear user interface, a user experience that's easy to organize lessons and different courses for instructors. So JavaScript is a lot more powerful at that point than the HTML and CSS front-end styles. So we teach you JavaScript, and you actually build a really cool user interface where you can drag and drop things on the screen, or instructors can do that on your application. So that's kind of, again, that's what the first 8 weeks is. And now it depends, right? We always want to customize our curriculum to you guys' goals. So if we're looking, let's take a step back. We're looking, who are we having in the program, students-wise? Right now, having people who are, hey, I want a job as a web developer. That's my goal. Then we also have people who are like, no, look, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to really come to you to learn the skills to launch my own application. That's my goal. Then there's a few people who are like, yeah, I'm at a company, I'm working on this part-time. I want to build like, a web application so my company can operate better. Most of the people are either in the entrepreneurial camp or the job seeker camp. So now, if you're a job seeker, what does that mean, right? So you're going through the first 8 weeks, and you have mentorship sessions every week. It's a mentor for you who helps you. They help you go through advanced lessons, advanced modules that prepare you for your ultimate goal. Now, explain a little bit what those modules are. But then what happens in the last 4 weeks, if you're on a job seeker path, we're going to actually put you on a group project. A group project is really important because in the real world, software is built by teams and not by individuals. So the sooner you learn how to work with tools out there, it's mostly like GitHub and like Ruby on Rails, and a team on a web development team, the better off you are. Why? Because hiring managers are looking for that skill. So if you're in an interview, right, looking for a job, and a hiring manager, they can see all that on GitHub, which code you wrote, which code you reviewed, what kind of communication you had back and forth, which codes you rejected by teammates based on something, which bugs you fixed in application. And now just to give you a real example, what students are building. So 2 of our students, Ilya from Munich and Ben here in Boston, they teamed up on what they built was a training platform for people about to go through the technical interview process of becoming a junior web developer, right? That's a place where you go in and you get quizzes of real world technical whiteboarding questions for like technical interviews thrown at you, and you have a certain time to solve them, and then you get hints given exactly how it would be in a real technical interview. Like, hey, write me that algorithm. How would you do that? And that's really cool. If you're thinking now, hey, you're in a technical interview yourself, not only can you point to something like, hey, my platform is training people, but you can also say like, here's how I worked on a team. So it's really important. Now, if you're in an entrepreneurial camp, you might not need that group project, right? What you're really passionate about is your own idea. That's what you want to build. That's what you want to launch. So then we give you a little bit of different training, right? So you need to get your own application out. You maybe not care about working on a team project that much, which is the real world for the job, but you want to get your own out. So we give you a little bit of different training. Now, let's zoom out, right? What happens if you're like in week 2 and you're coding along? How do you get support, right? So there's multiple ways we support you. First, I think the most important one is our Q&A forum. Everyone's always telling me, oh, Q&A forum, whatever, there's Q&A forums all over. No, but it really matters. And it matters because if you decide to code on Thursday night and you run into an error message and you're like, oh man, I don't know, I looked around for 20 minutes, half hour, I couldn't find a solution to this, and I Googled, and what am I going to do? There's a place where you can put in your error message and you get help and you get a solution. So you're not stuck. Every time you're stuck, there's help that you get unstuck. So that forum is then really important to prep you for the mentorship sessions. Because when I'm going to go in mentorship sessions with my students, what's really not effective in terms of learning, most of the times at least, is if we troubleshoot typos in code and missing commas, right? Oh, line 16, add a comma here to this, now the error message is gone. We can do that beforehand. We can do that when in the forum, I can just look at your code, I see your error message, I can point out what's wrong, and you're on your merry way, building the next feature, building the dashboard out for Yelp clone, or integrating video streaming into your online learning platform. So when you come to me in the mentorship session, we can actually go, okay, what's important right now on top of everything that you learned already to achieve your goal? So for example, if you're a job seeker, right, you're going to come into a mentorship session. I was like, okay, today we're going to learn about algorithms, or today we're going to go deeper into JavaScript, or today we're going to go and learn more about database relationships, or we write a sorting function. Those are all important things that you need for the interview and on the job. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, right, you might not care about algorithms that much because you're like, oh, my app doesn't really need that, right? But then we go like, okay, what's really important for you is right now, well, when you launch, user experience needs to be top-notch. How can we make sure that users actually understand what's going on? So we give you user experience training, and we design a better user interface for you because that really matters to you, and it matters to your potential users that you're going to acquire. So those are kind of like, that's the core curriculum, and that's kind of also how the mentorship sessions work, right? We're going in and we're adding additional modules based on your individual goal that you need so you can achieve that. Now, let's see, what skills, like that's the kind of question, what skills can I get out of it, right? Here's a simple answer. You come out of our program, you can think of an idea and say like, oh, that's really something that's missing. I'd love to build this. You should be able to sit down on a weekend and build a rough application of that, and then maybe spend the other week or the next week to make it look really good. Obviously, you won't, if you come, oh, I want to build another Google, you won't build that over the weekend. But anything like, you know, what we're thinking about, like, hey, this is something like, what I said, like, for example, like, oh, there's no place where the horse race tracks are, right? Or there's no training platform that prepares students for technical interviews. Those are the things that you can just then build, right? So whatever your idea is, you come out with the technical skills to build that, make it look good on all the devices, know your front end, know your design, but also know how to make it really good on the back end so it actually has that functionality. Now another thing, I'm going to talk a little bit more, but you guys should ask me questions, and right underneath me, type in your questions that you have, so I can go through and answer them and, you know, give you guys feedback to whatever you need to know right now. So usually questions that I'm getting is, how does the curriculum work, right? How is this structured? So here's the thing. This is, you know, basically it says written guides, this is videos, this is kind of a combination of both. And the answer is yes, it's a combination of both. So we have a lot of written guides. We used to have all videos, but we stopped doing that. And I explained to you why. When you're coding in the real world, you don't have oftentimes, most of the times, almost 95% of the times, you don't have a video explaining something to you. What you have is documentation by other developers explaining to you how to use their piece of code, how to integrate with the API. And the written documentations, the written guides, you need to read through and understand. That's why our guides are not written, because not only does it prepare you for the real world, because you can't watch videos, you need to read and understand, but it also serves the exact same purpose as real world documentation. as documentation for you. After the first 8 weeks, you learn a lot about web application development. But then you're out on your own, be it on your group project, right? Or be it on your own application in the last 4 weeks. You still have your mentor, you still have the support network, but you don't have guides to go to. But then we can be like, hey, you know what? You want to build user authentication. You want to have Google Maps there. Remember lesson 27. That's where you can go and relearn how you did that in case you don't remember all the individual steps. Plus, you have the application you built where you can look at the code. So now it becomes really good of jumping back for reference. And since you have lifetime access to all of our guides, it's really powerful when you down the road want to build something. Remember, I've done that before. How does this work? And you have detailed step-by-step instructions of how to actually pull that feature off and ship it and put it into your application and put it up on the internet. So that's like why we don't have that. And then obviously there's written guides, there's also videos that we say, right? So at certain points you need to like, hey, I need a big picture overview. How do all the pieces of the web application fit together? Then we send you videos at the right time when you need them, right? So coding is best learned by doing. So you code, and then you're like, oh wow, cool, I got all this, I got it live, but hold on, how did this fit together and what do all these files do? And then you get the video explaining everything and running you through. So you get the full picture. Then we also have weekly office hours, and I think those are also like a support system. That's when our students are meeting. They're once a week, and we go over questions. We talk about big picture things. We sometimes say like it's really valuable if you see students that are like 4 weeks ahead of you, and they ask a problem or they want to know how to use GitHub for their group project. Right, and you can see like, oh wow, I'm only in week like 1 or 2. And, oh, this is what they're doing, and this is how I'm going to use this tool. I don't know quite how, but this is the end goal. And it's really powerful, and you can also help each other out. So that's something that's really powerful too that happens during the office hours where we're there and answer questions. What else? Starting dates, people usually ask me. So we generally start people new classes every Monday, right? This is an online coding bootcamp, so we can start people new Monday. There's a lot of slots already full. So I think we're looking at like middle of October right now to starting new people. So that's something you take into consideration. Also timing, how long does it take? That's how much time do you need to dedicate, right? 12 weeks is the full coding, the Firehose Project coding bootcamp. Now, how many hours you put in? We say a minimum of 15 dedicated hours per week dedicated to coding. Now, if you want to dedicate more, that works perfectly, right? There's so many more things that we can learn if you dedicate more time. So if you're a job seeker, right, I'll give you examples. The people at like Ilya in Munich right now, who already got a job before he even graduated the program. So he put in, say, close to 40 hours per week, dedicated time, going through the curriculum, focusing on a group project, and learning additional skills that are important to landing a job. Now, for example, another student, Stephen, right, Stephen Funk, who built a medical marijuana app for on-demand delivery, right? And he launched that. He's launching that in Sacramento right now. So he obviously was like putting way more hours in because he was like, man, I'm coding all weekend, all night because this is my idea. I'm so passionate about that, right? But again, 15 hours is great to get through the core curriculum and finish your capstone or your work on your group project. But a lot of times you realize how awesome this is and how much fun you have, so you actually start dedicating a lot more time. So anything, I guess, between 15 hours per week to 40 hours a week is good. Pricing-wise, I get that too. It's right now, it's $4,500 for everything, mentorship session, curriculum access, office hours, Q&A forum, the whole deal. And then we have payment plans, so there's one pay monthly rates like 3 month and 5 month. So that's also available. I'm gonna go in now and check if I got some questions. Sometimes people email me, sometimes I get it in the Hangout. So bear with me for a second. Here we go. Val asked me that. Good question, Val. Do we have any hiring partners, career network, or provide job searching support after the course is completed? Good question. So, Val, just going back here. That's a good question. I know for a fact that you're based in Boston. So yeah, we have a big network here in Boston, and we know plenty of. We're in the PayPal offices here in the Start Tank, so we know plenty of startups and have connection with a lot. Other than that, the career network is important, but what's more important is how we prepare you for the job, right? Introductions, you can get yourself, you can get other people, we can introduce you, but it's all about how do you prep for your technical interviews? how do you conduct a job search, and how do you do that? What's your frequency of like emails that you're sending out? And that's what you get with your mentorship sessions. Give you an example, right? We had one of our students who was really good. Like we did technical interview training in the mentorship sessions, and he was really good. He aced every question. I was like, wow, this is really impressive. And then I asked him the question, okay, let's zoom back. First question I would actually ask you if I were to interview is like, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. And he wasn't solid on that. And I was like, okay, look, you might not even get to the whiteboard, to the technical questions, if you can't really present yourself. So here's what we do. Every mentorship sessions now moving forward, the first thing you tell me before I say anything, I want an introduction of who you are. And obviously that helped them a lot, right? Getting that way. And that's like all just figuring out, like us as mentors, we get to know our students really well because we see their code, we see how they interact, we talk with them a lot, we meet with them like multiple times per week. So that's really helpful, and we can tailor that. What do you need for you to reach your goal? So does that kind of help you, Valerie? I hope so. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions. I don't have any in the Hangout. Guys, you gotta ask more questions. Check if I got any via. Yeah, here's a good one. What have students built so far? That's a good one. I like that one. Okay, so yeah, or also like, here's another one via email. Tell me some success stories. So people always want to hear success stories. Sure thing, can do. So there is, Ilya already described, he got a job offer from a startup in Munich. He's from Munich. I think the startup is in Munich. Right after he, while he's still working on his group project, right? He started applying and getting around, and we gave him the training that he needed. So he got a job offer already, but he still needs to ship his group project, right? That's the real world. We don't want to jump off. So he's still coding at night with us, even though he has his new job. So that's really awesome. Another one is Pete. He was the guy who I described earlier, who took the Yelp clone and actually made it for horse races. So he's taken that idea now and actually making it in his capstone project and writing right now the code, the algorithms to you're welcome, Val, I just see you, sorry, thank you. He writes the algorithms to make that platform not only for you to find the best horse racing track in your area, but also to know all the horse races that take place, and you get statistics and betting averages on all the different horses. And so you can sign up for an account and then you can stand there, and for the first time, apparently this doesn't exist, you can get information on how to bet better on those horses, and all his friends are using that, and he's shipping this out and people love it. And so that's really cool. Another one is obviously Stephen Fung, who's like has this built a mobile app with us on iPhone, and he's like, he built a Ruby on Rails backend with us, and he's launching it as a web application and an iOS app as well for an Uber clone for medical marijuana. That's something that he's really passionate about, and he's gonna launch that, and he's gonna be really happy with that. Those are some of the success stories. Obviously, there's people who landed jobs. One student here in Boston already got a job also before the program was over. And those are just like, they're also heroes, right? But you always want to hear like, oh, these people launch these great products. But either way, we care immensely about our students, and we're super happy and super proud of them. I just got another question from Tiffany. Okay, cool. So question first on the program was 4,500. Is there still the option to pay at once and get the, yes. So Tiffany, if you pay everything up front, we give you a $500 discount. So it's $4,000 for you. We do that because it's easier for us to process all the payments, and we don't have to send reminder emails and all of this. So then there's like, how many mentor meetings are there per week? Do they only start at the end during the customization phase? No, Tiffany, we have weekly mentorship sessions. You can split it in multiple ones. Like if you want to have 2 per week, I'd say take one full 1-hour mentorship session per week, and make sure that you have all your error messages out of your application. So you come into me and you're actually building something that you really want to learn, or that helps you get closer to achieving your personal coding and professional coding goal. So it sounds like you want a job, so right then we would focus like, okay, let's put, you're on the Upload week 2, let's put that aside, but now let's actually like focus on how databases are communicating, right? Let's go into some SQL and learn how to create a database. Like, what do you need on the job, right? And that's an extra module that you're gonna get on top. And then you can go back and already apply that new knowledge onto when you code and continue building your web application. So that's what we do in the mentorship session. And they're throughout the entire program. If you're on a job seeking track, I suggest taking one consistently every single week. Sometimes entrepreneurs say, can I save mine to do it's the end of the program, and we make exceptions depending on what their idea is. That we say like, okay, don't take mentorship sessions for the first 2-3 weeks, and we bunch them towards the end. But generally speaking, once a week tends to be the best. You get the office hours, you get the phone support, and the mentorship sessions, and you probably see us so often every week. You're like, oh my God, Marco again, holy smokes. Okay, there's another one. Tiffany, do you have any statistics on how many students who were looking for jobs afterwards found jobs? So far, everyone, but here's the deal. Those statistics don't mean anything, because what you really want to get at, right, if I look at all these marketing pages of boot camps, it's like 90% job in place. The problem is you don't know what kind of jobs there are. You can come into my program and I can get you a job that pays you very little, or that's an internship, or it's sweat equity at a startup that doesn't pay you. And I count that as a success, right? So you gotta be really careful. That metric, job placement rate, really dangerous, right? Because I can fudge with that. What's way more important is that you get the job that you want, and you making enough money to pay the bills, and you have more than that, right? You get a good job offer, and not something where you get kind of pushed in of, hey, this is a $35,000, $40,000 a year job as a web developer. What you really don't want. You want to start like 65 or higher. I hope that answers it. So far, everyone. All right, do we have anything else? Tiffany, let me know if that answered your question. Valerie is all good. See, I don't have any more questions. I give it a few more minutes, maybe something trickles in. Usually what happens, my video is about 2 minutes delayed, so I always feel like I live in the future here a little bit, and then questions trickle in right after when I close the window, and I'm like, oh, then I have to write all my answers out. But this was really fun. I had a ton. This is really good. If you have any other questions, oh, there's another question, but if you have any other questions, right, you got my email, just reply to that and let me know. Usually, another thing that usually comes up is like application process. I talk to every single student before they come into the program. I want to make sure that you're motivated. I want to make sure that you have maybe a little bit of experience. If not, I'm going to point you to resources that you can do. So it's really important, like, especially if you want to be a web developer and you've never written any line of code, it's like, really, you don't quite know yet if you actually enjoy doing that. So it's kind of like going to med school, but don't know if you like to see blood. So it's the same, like, going to a coding bootcamp, but not knowing if you actually like to, like, write code, right? So, but anyway, the first step is talk to me, and we figure out exactly what your coding goals are and how we can get you there. Now I'm going to check on more questions. So Val, yeah, this is, do we expect students to come with some prior coding programming background? There are students who don't have any background. There are students who have computer science degrees at Duke University, right? They come through our program. All of them get the value out that they need, right? The guy Aditya from Duke just wrote an email and said like, hey man, I'm so thankful. Through your program, I learned more than in 4 years of computer science at Duke. We were like, wow, awesome, that's cool. That's really good validation. That makes us super happy. But do you need any programming experience? No, but I would say there's several prerequisites that we have, and I highly recommend that you go through those, right? This like there's one book that you can read. It's not about coding, it's just about the mindset, how software is built by the guys over at 37 Signal. Getting Real is really good. That's what we require students to read usually beforehand. It's like you can read that in a couple hours or like a weekend, and it's really good, like understanding how this all works in the startup world or tech companies. And there's also like, you know, a few tutorials that we usually ask students to do or go through, so to prep them, so they're like, you know, at least there's muscle memory there of how to write code or build a splash page, so do some HTML and CSS, so you're a little bit prepared. The more you can do, the quicker you go through and the more you can pick up and learn. Hope that answered your question. Cool, Tiffany's good. Thumbs up. Okay, Kay just came in at the end. Are people's apprenticeships customized? If someone happens to proceed quicker than others, and will they be, I gotta click on read more, will they be able to cover additional topics? Okay, a bunch of questions, Kay. Yes, there's a guy right now, a used car dealership, the person in LA that codes with us, he went through everything at 5 times the speed of everyone else, right? And now all of a sudden we're like, whoa, what are we gonna do with you, right? But that's built in. If you're that smart and he has such an aptitude for writing code, which is amazing, that motivates me, us, our mentors, like immensely. So then we're gonna go on, okay, man, we're gonna build multiple group projects with you, and we're gonna build a simple one first, then we're gonna put you together with the best students and build a really complicated one, right? So you're gonna get more out of that, right? But you need to really prove that by asking the right questions and by going through a lot faster than everyone else, right? But there's no pressure on you if you can't go at a really high speed. It's about you, not about the rest of the class. There's no competition or anything. So it's not like classroom atmosphere where like, oh man, everyone's so much smarter, or like, oh, they're like so slow, I want to move faster. If you're fast, we move you faster. If you're slow, we make sure we help you get up to speed. There's other ones. Do people keep the same mentors throughout the apprenticeship? Yep. The only exception is, for example, if you're on an entrepreneurial track and you go like, okay, what we really need right now is UX experience, right? We might switch you up. Or you need something like more JavaScript, right? We might bring another mentor in for a session or two who can help you with that. So far, we don't have to do that too often, but that happens. And it makes sense. What you need right there might not be what the run mentor has. But generally, yeah, you always keep the same mentor. How do we form the project groups at the end? Do we have any say what kind of project we work on? That's a great question. Here, this is all about preparing you. So the group project at the end is all about preparing you for the real world. What happens in the real world is you get assigned a project or feature that you need to build, right? That you usually don't know a lot about it. So that's what we're doing. I'm giving you a project and say, obviously we have some say, but it's like, here's a product specification with wireframes, right? The designs and the drawing of how the application that you need to build looks like. And then I say, go build it. And here's your team and here's your technical lead. Obviously, if you have a great idea, bring it up and we see how we can make that happen. But generally, I want to have that not one person is like, this is my baby and the other people are working for me. It's like, we're all on the same team and somebody told us what to do, which is exactly what happens on day one on the job. You're going to ask to build a feature of including a search functionality into the app that for the team that you're working on. So that's a lot better. I hope that helped you. Okay, Tiffany, it's all good. I think I answered all the questions. We're a few minutes over, but it's good. I love getting good questions. So again, if you have any, like tonight, you're like, oh man, I wish I would have asked Marco that. Go into your email, send me an email. I'm happy to answer you guys. Happy to help you out. That's pretty much it. I hope this was helpful. Give me a thumbs up in the comments. Say something. Tell me like, oh, Marco, you totally missed this point. And I can give you more answers and make the next one better. But thanks so much for stopping by. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, hope to see you and hear from you. Take it easy.